Global happenings today. We communicate. We analyze global news.
Welcome back to our channel. Yesterday, moved by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, reducing the plotted list of 175 detainees who enjoyed his clemency, who enjoyed his pardon, reducing that list to 34 has triggered a lot of reactions across Nigeria. Now, interestingly, one of the lawyers, well-known lawyers, who is a tele lawyer, took out time to talk about it, talking about Frank Tete when he was interviewed. And he says the president does not have the right to reverse pardon. And that has also triggered a lot of national conversation. Does the president have the right to do so? But interestingly, we're going to be looking at that, taking into consideration the provision of the Constitution in respect to this. We need legal clarification about this. Now, the statement was that the president can't take back pardon. And that refers to the legal principle that once a presidential pardon is formally granted under the Nigerian Constitution, it is irrevocable and cannot be withdrawn by the president. And this is rooted in Section 175 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, which outlines President's prerogative of mercy. Now, these powers allow the president to grant pardon, reprise, substitution of punishment, or remission for federal offenses, but it is exercised as an act of grace that extinguishes the conviction upon issuance. Don't forget, upon issuance. Let's look at the key provision of that section 175. Now, let's start up with subsection 1. And that subsection 1 says that the president may grant pardon as free or conditional to any person concerned with or convicted of a federal offense. B, grant a respite from punishment indefinitely or specified. C, substitute a less severe punishment. D, remit, that's reduce or forgive any part of the punishment or penalty. Now, subsection 2 says that these powers must be exercised after consultation with the Council of State, which the president did. Subsection 3 says that it can extend to even military offenses with council advice, which means even if someone was involved in a coup or had done anything which is considered in law as military offenses, the president still reserves the right to forgive such people. Now, the Constitution does not explicitly state that pardons are irrevocable, but Nigeria's legal scholarship and judicial interpretation treats them as final and absolute once granted, akin to common law tradition inherited from British jurisprudence. Now, a pardon plotted out the offense, restoring the recipient right as if no conviction occurred. Revoking it would undermine this as it operates outside strict judicial rules and is not subject to reversal without constitutional amendment. The last time we checked, there was no constitutional amendment in respect to that the president can pardon later on, can go back on it. You understand? So now the big question is it true? Is that statement true that Frank Tete made? By virtue of the provision of the Constitution, it is true that the president cannot revoke fully granted pardon under the Nigerian Constitution. Now, pardon are acts of executive clemency that are irrevocable once formalized. Now, what do we mean by once formalized? It means as long as it has been signed, there's an instrument that has been signed and there's a gazette publication to it, there is no way that it can be reversed. Now, this prevents the executive from arbitrarily Undoing mercy, protecting against abuse while preserving the power's humanitarian intent. But the question that most Nigerians are asking is that what the president did? The 34 list, does it mean he has totally cancelled off, the other people that were in that 175-man list? That is one question that is begging for answer. And according to Bayo Nanuga that yesterday, he was able to give Nigerians an insight on what the president did. He said that the president viewed justice as a three-way traffic, balancing the right of offenders, victim, and the society. And among those whose sentence were reduced under the instrument of presidential prerogative of mercy are inmates convicted of manslaughter, culpable homicide, fraud, firearms, and conspiracy offenses. Notable among them was Mariam Sanda. She was convicted of culpable homicide and sentenced to death in 2020, but had her sentence commuted to 12 years on compassionate ground in the best interest of her children and for good conduct. Now, you can see there that though the president had decided to return her back, but it was a case of not completely stripping her of the mercy, but reducing the sentence. Instead of death, he had to reduce her to 12 years. Also, we had other persons like Yusuf Owolabi and Ifeanyi Eze, 36 and 33 years respectively, both serving life sentence for manslaughter, but now it has been reduced to 15 years each. Marcus Yusuf also, who is 41, whose 13-year term was cut to 8 years, and Haji Abubakar Tanko, whose 30-year sentence was reduced to 20. Now, under drug and narcotic category, Patrick Mensah, 40, had his 17 years sentence reduced to 13 years. These guys have already been serving. And also others like Obichukwu Tunde, Balogun Lima, Diego, and Uchebu Michael received reduced terms of 12 years each. We also had Diaz Christiana, 44. She's a foreign national convicted of importing cocaine in 2017, and she had her sentence cut from 15 to 12 for remorsefulness and deportation. So she had already served some years, but she's going to be deported back. But then her term was reduced from 15 to 12. Now, in financial and fraud-related cases, we had Buka Adamu, 40, got his 20-year term reduced to 9, while Mustafa Ahmed Inyobong, Nsugidem Ada Audu, Jonathan Alaturu, and Umana Ekaite received varying reduction for age, remorsefulness, and good conduct. We had other people also in another class, and it has to do with the firearm-related offenses. Abubakar Maman, 38, and Muhammad Bello Musa, 35, and their 10 years jail term was cut to 7, while Namdi Anene, 67, had his jail term commuted to 20. So you now notice that what actually transpired there was that Mr. President did not outrightly strip those people who were in that bloated list of 175 detainees being released. They were not totally, their mercy, prerogative of mercy, or their mercy or pardon was not reversed. Instead, the president had to choose another option, still in the environs of the prerogative of mercy, reducing